Let me ask you something honestly. When was the last time you woke up and felt genuinely good? Not just okay. Not just I got enough sleep okay, but actually energized, clear-headed, and ready for whatever the day throws at you. If you're struggling to remember that feeling, I want you to know you're not alone. And more importantly, it doesn't have to stay that way. I've spent years studying the relationship between what we eat and how we feel, and the more I learn, the more I'm convinced that most of us are just a few key nutritional changes away from a dramatically different experience of life. Not through some extreme diet overhaul, not through expensive supplements with impossible-to-pronounce ingredients, but through real whole foods that nature has been refining for thousands of years. Today, I'm going to walk you through 11 foods that I genuinely believe can change your health. And when I say change, I mean it in the deepest, most meaningful sense. I'm talking about changes in your energy, your inflammation, your blood sugar, your heart health, your brain, your sleep, your immune system, and even your mood. These aren't miracle cures. These are real foods with real science behind them. And when you start including them consistently, the results can be remarkable. And yes, Moringa is #1 on this list. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why I've put it at the top. It's not hype. It's not a trend. There's something genuinely special about this plant, and I can't wait to tell you about it. But before we get into the list, I want to ask you something. Out of all the health challenges you're dealing with right now, whether it's low energy, brain fog, joint pain, blood sugar issues, heart concerns, weight management, or just feeling off, what is the one thing you wish you could fix first? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single comment, and your answers actually shape the content I create next. So tell me, what's the biggest health issue you're fighting right now? All right, let's get into it, starting with #1. #1 is Moringa. And I want to give this the time and depth it deserves, because I genuinely believe that if more people knew what this plant could do, it would be one of the most consumed foods on the planet. Let me explain. Moringa oleifera, often called the miracle tree, is a plant native to parts of Asia and Africa that has been used in traditional medicine for thousands of years. And when I say thousands of years, I mean it was being used medicinally in ancient India before the Roman Empire even existed. That kind of track record matters. But what really matters is what modern science is now confirming about this remarkable plant. Here's where things get extraordinary. Moringa leaves are among the most nutrient-dense plant foods ever studied. When you compare it gram for gram to other foods, the numbers are staggering. Moringa leaves contain 7 times more vitamin C than oranges. They contain 4 times more calcium than milk. They have 3 times more potassium than bananas. They contain 4 times more vitamin A than carrots. And they're packed with high-quality plant protein that contains all 9 essential amino acids, something incredibly rare in the plant kingdom. Most plant proteins are incomplete, meaning they're missing 1 or more of those essential amino acids your body can't make on its own. Moringa has all of them, but here's what I find even more compelling than the raw nutrient numbers. Moringa is absolutely loaded with something called phytochemicals, bioactive compounds that interact with your body's systems in profoundly protective ways. Among these are quercetin, one of the most powerful antioxidants known to science. There's chlorogenic acid, which has been studied extensively for its ability to support healthy blood sugar levels. There are glucosinolates, compounds with anti-inflammatory and even potential cancer-fighting properties. And there's isothiocyanates, which support detoxification at the cellular level. Now let's talk about inflammation, because this is where Moringa becomes particularly relevant for most people watching this. Chronic, low-grade inflammation is now recognized by researchers as one of the root drivers of most modern diseases. Heart disease, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, certain cancers, arthritis, and more. Most of us are walking around with this kind of slow-burning inflammation in our bodies without even knowing it. And the foods we eat either fan those flames or help put them out. Multiple studies have looked at Moringa's anti-inflammatory effects, and the results are consistently impressive. The isothiocyanates in Moringa, particularly one called moringin, have been shown to inhibit key inflammatory pathways in the body. Specifically, they suppress the production of inflammatory molecules called cytokines, including one you may have heard of called tumor necrosis factor alpha. Now, I'm not telling you moringa is a substitute for medical treatment, but I am telling you that consistently feeding your body foods that dampen inflammation rather than increase it is one of the most powerful things you can do for your long-term health. Blood sugar regulation is another area where moringa shines. Research published in multiple peer-reviewed journals has found that chlorogenic acid in moringa can help slow the absorption of sugar into the bloodstream after a meal, reducing those blood sugar spikes that, over time, contribute to insulin resistance and eventually type 2 diabetes. One study found that people who took moringa leaf powder experienced a notable reduction in blood sugar levels after eating. That's meaningful for anyone trying to manage their metabolic health. Moringa also supports the liver, the organ responsible for filtering toxins from your blood, metabolizing fat, and performing hundreds of other critical functions. Animal studies have shown that moringa can protect liver cells from damage, and it supports the liver's ability to regenerate. For anyone who eats a modern diet, drinks alcohol occasionally, or takes medications regularly, liver support is something worth thinking about. And then there's the brain. Moringa contains two key compounds, moringenine and moringenine, that have been studied for their neuroprotective effects. Early research suggests these compounds may help protect brain cells from oxidative damage and may even support the production of key neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which regulate mood, motivation, and mental clarity. How do you use moringa? The most common form is as a dried leaf powder that you can add to smoothies, soups, teas, or even sprinkle over food. It has a mildly earthy, slightly spinach-like taste that blends well into many things. Start with about half a teaspoon and work your way up to 1 to 2 teaspoons per day. Moringa is generally considered safe, but if you're pregnant or taking blood-thinning medications or blood sugar medications, please check with your doctor first, as moringa can interact with those. This is why moringa is number 1 on this list. Not because it's trendy, but because it brings together an extraordinary density of nutrients, a remarkable anti-inflammatory profile, and real science supporting its benefits across multiple systems of the body simultaneously. It's the closest thing to a nutritional Swiss Army knife that I know of in the plant world. Now let's move to number 2. And this one might surprise you if you've ever been told it's bad for you. Number 2 is eggs. And I want to address the elephant in the room right away, because I know many of you have spent years being told to limit eggs because of cholesterol concerns. The conversation around eggs and cholesterol has evolved significantly over the past decade, and the current scientific consensus is much more nuanced and far more favorable to eggs than the guidelines of the 1980s and 90s suggested. Here's what we know. Eggs do contain dietary cholesterol, about 186 milligrams per egg, mostly in the yolk. But dietary cholesterol has a much smaller effect on blood cholesterol levels in most people than we once thought. For roughly 70 to 75% of the population, eating eggs regularly has little to no effect on LDL cholesterol levels. For the remaining 25 to 30%, often called hyper-responders, dietary cholesterol does raise LDL, but it tends to raise both LDL and HDL together, and the ratio between them, which is what matters most for cardiovascular risk, often stays favorable. And large-scale epidemiological studies, including a major analysis published in the British Medical Journal, have found no significant association between egg consumption and heart disease risk in healthy people. So what do eggs bring to the table? Quite a lot, as it turns out. Eggs are one of the most complete sources of nutrition on Earth. A single large egg contains 6 grams of high-quality protein, a complete protein with all essential amino acids in proportions that your body uses extremely efficiently. In fact, eggs are often used as the gold standard against which other protein sources are measured. But here's what I really want to focus on, because this gets overlooked constantly. The yolk, the part many people are still afraid of, is where the majority of the nutrition lives. The yolk contains fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. It contains choline, one of the most important nutrients for brain health and liver function, and one that most people are chronically deficient in. Choline is essential for producing acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter critical for memory and muscle control. It's also vital during pregnancy for fetal brain development. And a single egg yolk provides about 125 milligrams of choline, roughly 23% of the daily adequate intake for most adults. Egg yolks are also rich in lutein and zeaxanthin, two carotenoid antioxidants that accumulate in the retina of your eye and protect against age-related macular degeneration and cataracts. As someone who cares deeply about longevity and aging well, this matters enormously. Your eyesight is one of the first things to go as you age, and the foods you eat now can meaningfully influence how well you see in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Eggs also support satiety powerfully. Studies consistently show that people who eat eggs for breakfast consume fewer calories throughout the rest of the day, compared to those who eat a carbohydrate-based breakfast of similar caloric value. If weight management is one of your goals, eggs are one of the most reliable tools in your nutritional toolkit. My recommendation? Eat whole eggs, yolk and all. Aim for 1 to 2 per day if you're in good health, and consider pastured or free-range eggs when possible, as these tend to have higher omega-3 fatty acid content and better nutrient profiles due to the hen's varied diet. Unless your doctor has given you specific guidance to restrict eggs based on your individual cardiovascular situation, please stop being afraid of them. They are one of nature's most perfect foods. Number 3 on this list is blueberries. Small in size, but enormous in impact. I've been recommending blueberries to people for years, and the reason is simple. The science behind them is extraordinary. Blueberries are one of the most studied fruits in nutritional research, and the evidence for their health benefits is both deep and wide. The key players in blueberries are a family of compounds called anthocyanins, the pigments that give blueberries their deep blue-purple color. Anthocyanins are powerful antioxidants, but calling them antioxidants almost undersells what they do. They interact directly with your body's cellular signaling pathways in ways that protect against inflammation, oxidative stress, and even cellular aging. Let me tell you about brain health first, because this is where blueberries are most exciting. A landmark study from Tufts University followed older adults and found that those who consumed blueberries regularly showed improvements in memory, learning, and cognitive function that researchers compared to reversing about 2 years of cognitive aging. 2 years. Recovered. Through blueberries. That's not a small thing when you consider that cognitive decline affects tens of millions of people globally. The mechanism? Anthocyanins appear to reduce neuroinflammation, improve communication between brain cells by supporting the growth of new neural connections, and protect brain cells from oxidative damage. They also appear to increase levels of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein often called fertilizer for the brain that supports the growth and maintenance of neurons. Low BDNF is associated with depression, anxiety, and neurodegenerative disease. Higher BDNF is associated with better mood, sharper thinking, and more resilience to stress. Blueberries are also fantastic for cardiovascular health. Research from Harvard found that women who ate blueberries and strawberries regularly had a significantly lower risk of heart attack, primarily attributed to the anthocyanins' ability to reduce arterial stiffness and lower blood pressure. A number of studies have also shown that regular blueberry consumption reduces LDL oxidation, because oxidized LDL is the real villain in heart disease, not LDL itself, and lowers overall inflammatory markers in the blood. For blood sugar management, blueberries are also impressive. Despite being sweet, they have a relatively low glycemic index, and the fiber and anthocyanins in them actually improve insulin sensitivity. Studies have shown that consuming blueberries improves how efficiently cells respond to insulin, which is a critical factor in preventing and managing type 2 diabetes. How much do you need? Aim for about a cup of fresh or frozen blueberries per day, or about half a cup of wild blueberries, which are smaller but actually contain higher concentrations of anthocyanins. Frozen blueberries are just as effective as fresh, so cost and convenience are not an excuse. Add them to oatmeal, yogurt, smoothies, or just eat them plain. Few things you can do daily are as enjoyable and as impactful. Number 4 is one of the most ancient medicines in the world, turmeric. If you've been paying any attention to health conversations over the last decade, you've heard about turmeric. And I want to be real with you. A lot of what's been said about it has been overhyped. But underneath the hype, there is genuine, robust science, particularly when it comes to the compound that makes turmeric so special, which is curcumin. Curcumin is the primary bioactive compound in turmeric, and it is one of the most studied natural anti-inflammatory compounds in the world. Hundreds of peer-reviewed studies have investigated curcumin's effects on inflammation, and the results consistently show that curcumin inhibits multiple molecular targets involved in the inflammatory process, including NF-kappa B, one of the master switches that turns on inflammatory gene expression throughout the body. In clinical trials, curcumin has shown effects comparable to some pharmaceutical anti-inflammatories in conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, and metabolic syndrome, without the side effects. I want to be careful here, because I'm not suggesting you replace any medication without your doctor's guidance. But the science supporting curcumin as a natural anti-inflammatory agent is genuinely compelling. Beyond inflammation, curcumin has been extensively studied for its effects on the brain. It can cross the blood-brain barrier, something many compounds can't do, and once there, it has been shown to boost BDNF levels similarly to blueberries, which may help protect against depression and neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. Some research suggests curcumin can help break down amyloid plaques, the protein aggregates associated with Alzheimer's disease, though this research is still developing. Curcumin also supports liver detoxification, has antioxidant effects that protect DNA from damage, and has been studied for potential roles in cancer prevention, particularly for its ability to suppress tumor growth signals and promote apoptosis, which is the programmed death of abnormal cells. Again, I'm not making disease treatment claims here, but the prevention science is worth knowing about. The critical issue with turmeric is bioavailability. Curcumin on its own is poorly absorbed by the body. But here's the solution that's been studied and validated. Combining turmeric with black pepper dramatically increases absorption. The piperine in black pepper inhibits enzymes that metabolize curcumin before it can be absorbed, increasing its bioavailability by up to 2,000%. Yes, you read that correctly. So whenever you use turmeric, always add a pinch of black pepper. This one simple step makes all the difference. A good daily dose is about 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder with a pinch of black pepper, ideally consumed with a fat-containing meal, since curcumin is also fat-soluble and absorbs better with dietary fat. Golden milk, curries, soups, and scrambled eggs are all excellent vehicles. Number 5 is fatty fish, specifically salmon, mackerel, sardines, herring, and anchovies. I put these together as a category because they share the key nutritional gift that makes them so powerful: omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA and DHA. These are long-chain omega-3s that your body cannot efficiently produce on its own and must get from food or supplements. And the gap between how much most people get and how much they need is massive. EPA and DHA are structural components of cell membranes throughout your body. They're particularly concentrated in the brain, where DHA makes up a significant portion of the fat in neurons. They're also concentrated in the retina of the eye. Getting adequate EPA and DHA is not optional if you want to maintain brain function, eye health, and cardiovascular health as you age. The evidence for omega-3 fatty acids and heart health is among the strongest in nutritional science. They reduce triglycerides, reduce arterial inflammation, prevent dangerous heart arrhythmias, and modestly lower blood pressure. The American Heart Association recommends eating fatty fish at least twice per week, and for good reason. For brain health, the research is equally compelling. DHA supports neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections and adapt. Multiple studies have linked higher omega-3 intake with lower rates of depression, slower cognitive decline with aging, and better memory and attention in both children and adults. If you're struggling with mood or mental clarity, increasing your omega-3 intake is one of the first things I'd suggest exploring. Omega-3s are also among the most potent natural anti-inflammatory agents we know of. EPA in particular is a precursor to compounds called resolvins and protectins, molecules that actively resolve inflammation in the body. This is important because simply reducing inflammation isn't enough. Your body also needs to actively resolve it. Omega-3s support both sides of that process. From a practical standpoint, Wild-caught salmon is one of the best choices. Tasty, widely available, and rich in both EPA and DHA. Sardines are even more impressive nutritionally, packed with omega-3s, calcium, vitamin D, and B12 in a tiny package, and they're also incredibly affordable. If you don't enjoy fish or eat it infrequently, a high-quality fish oil or algae-based omega-3 supplement is a reasonable alternative. Aim for 2 to 3 servings of fatty fish per week. Your heart, brain, joints, and skin will all thank you. Number 6 is something you likely already have in your kitchen and may be drastically underusing. Garlic. Garlic has one of the most ancient medicinal traditions of any food on Earth. Ancient Egyptians used it medicinally. Ancient Greek physicians prescribed it. And modern science is giving us a detailed mechanistic picture of exactly why traditional healers were right to value it so highly. The key compound in garlic is called allicin, formed when raw garlic is chopped, crushed, or chewed, triggering an enzymatic reaction between a compound called alliin and an enzyme called alliinase. Allicin is extraordinarily bioactive. It's antimicrobial, antifungal, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, and it has direct cardiovascular benefits. For heart health specifically, garlic has been shown in multiple meta-analyses, which are large reviews of many studies combined, to significantly reduce both systolic and diastolic blood pressure in people with elevated blood pressure. The effects are modest but consistent, and they work through several mechanisms, including the relaxation of blood vessel walls and the reduction of arterial stiffness. Garlic also reduces LDL cholesterol and total cholesterol in people with elevated levels, though the effects are again moderate. More importantly, garlic appears to reduce LDL oxidation and platelet aggregation, meaning it makes your blood less prone to clotting dangerously, which is relevant to heart attack and stroke prevention. Garlic has also been studied for its effects on immune function. A well-known randomized controlled trial found that people who took aged garlic extract daily over 12 weeks had significantly fewer colds than the placebo group. And when they did get sick, their symptoms resolved faster. The allicin in garlic has direct antimicrobial effects against a wide range of pathogens, including some that are antibiotic resistant. There's also fascinating research on garlic and cancer prevention. Studies on populations that consume large amounts of garlic, particularly in Mediterranean and East Asian countries, show lower rates of certain cancers, especially stomach and colorectal cancers. Laboratory and animal studies suggest garlic compounds can inhibit carcinogen activation, enhance DNA repair, and promote the death of cancer cells. Human clinical evidence is still developing, but the epidemiological signal is strong. To maximize allicin production, always chop or crush your garlic and let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes before cooking or eating it. This allows the enzymatic reaction to fully complete. Cooking immediately after cutting significantly reduces allicin content. Aim for 2 to 4 cloves of fresh garlic per day. Yes, your breath might suffer temporarily, but your cardiovascular system will appreciate it enormously. Number 7 is leafy greens, and I'm talking about the dark, deeply colored ones like spinach, kale, Swiss chard, collard greens, and arugula. If there's one category of food that appears consistently across virtually every dietary pattern associated with long-term health and longevity, from the Mediterranean diet to traditional Asian diets to the diets of blue zone populations, it's dark, leafy greens. And the reason is that these foods pack an extraordinary variety of nutrients into a low-calorie, high-fiber package. Let me walk you through the main reasons these greens belong on your plate every single day. First, they're rich in folate, a B vitamin essential for DNA synthesis and repair, neurotransmitter production, and the prevention of a condition called hyperhomocystinemia, elevated blood levels of an amino acid called homocysteine that damages arterial walls and significantly increases cardiovascular and stroke risk. Many people are folate deficient without knowing it. Second, leafy greens are rich in vitamin K1, which is essential for proper blood clotting and bone health, and in vitamin K2 when fermented, which directs calcium into bones rather than arteries, a crucial distinction for both skeletal strength and cardiovascular health. Third, they're outstanding sources of magnesium, a mineral involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body, including blood pressure regulation, blood sugar control, nerve function, and sleep quality. Magnesium deficiency is extraordinarily common. Studies suggest that up to half of Americans don't get enough, and it contributes to anxiety, poor sleep, muscle cramps, elevated blood pressure, and constipated bowel habits. Fourth, leafy greens contain nitrates that the body converts to nitric oxide, a molecule that relaxes and dilates blood vessels, improving blood flow and lowering blood pressure. Athletes have used beetroot, another nitrate-rich food, for this effect, but leafy greens provide the same benefit in a broader nutritional package. Fifth, the fiber in leafy greens feeds your gut microbiome, the community of trillions of bacteria living in your digestive tract that influence everything from immune function to mood to weight to metabolic health. Feeding these bacteria with plant fiber is one of the most important things you can do for your overall health. How much should you eat? Aim for at least 2 cups of raw leafy greens, or 1 cup cooked, every day. Add them to smoothies, stir-fries, soups, salads, egg dishes. The options are endless. The key is daily consistency. Number 8 is walnuts, and I want to make the case for why these deserve a place in your daily routine. Of all the nuts, walnuts have the most impressive research profile for brain and cardiovascular health, and there's a reason for that. Walnuts are uniquely rich in alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid, which gives them anti-inflammatory properties not found in other nuts to the same degree. They're also particularly rich in polyphenols, a class of antioxidants that reduce oxidative stress throughout the body. For brain health, walnut research is fascinating. A study from the UCLA School of Medicine found that adults who ate walnuts scored significantly higher on cognitive function tests, including memory, concentration, and information processing speed. This was true across all age groups studied. Younger, middle-aged, and older adults all benefited. The likely mechanism involves the combination of omega-3s, antioxidants, and polyphenols reducing neuroinflammation and supporting neuroplasticity. For heart health, walnuts have been shown to reduce total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, and particularly dangerous small dense LDL particles, the ones most associated with arterial plaque formation. They also lower triglycerides and appear to improve the function of the endothelium, which is the lining of blood vessels. Healthy endothelial function is critical for preventing high blood pressure and atherosclerosis. Walnuts also support gut health through their fiber and polyphenol content, which feed beneficial bacteria and increase the production of short-chain fatty acids, compounds that support gut lining integrity, reduce inflammation, and have systemic benefits throughout the body. A practical serving is about 7 to 14 walnut halves per day, roughly a small handful. Eat them raw rather than roasted if possible, as heat can degrade some of the delicate omega-3 fatty acids. Add them to oatmeal, salads, yogurt, or just keep them as a go-to snack. Number 9 is Greek yogurt, and more specifically, I want to talk about the extraordinary importance of your gut microbiome and why fermented foods like Greek yogurt deserve to be a daily staple. Your gut microbiome, the community of bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms living in your digestive tract, is now understood to be one of the most important systems in your entire body. It influences your immune function, your mood and mental health through what's called the gut-brain axis, your metabolism and weight regulation, your inflammatory state, and even your risk of conditions ranging from type 2 diabetes to depression to autoimmune diseases. Greek yogurt, particularly varieties that are high in live active cultures, delivers beneficial bacteria directly into your gut. The primary strains you'll find in yogurt, Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium species, have been extensively studied and shown to support gut barrier integrity, reduce harmful bacteria, produce beneficial compounds like short-chain fatty acids and B vitamins, and support immune regulation. But Greek yogurt's benefits go beyond the probiotics. Greek yogurt is strained to remove much of the liquid whey, concentrating the protein significantly. A typical serving of Greek yogurt contains 15 to 20 grams of protein, as much as a serving of meat, making it one of the most protein-dense foods available in a convenient, ready-to-eat format. That protein supports muscle maintenance and growth, supports satiety, and contributes to stable blood sugar levels by slowing digestion. Greek yogurt is also a good source of calcium for bone health, potassium for blood pressure regulation, B12 for nerve function and energy, and phosphorus for bone and teeth health. And unlike regular yogurt, the straining process removes much of the lactose, making it more tolerable for people who are mildly lactose sensitive. Choose plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt and add your own toppings: berries, walnuts, a drizzle of raw honey, or chia seeds. The flavored varieties are often loaded with added sugar that undermines the health benefits. Make sure the label says live and active cultures. That's your assurance that beneficial bacteria are actually present and viable. Number 10 is avocado. And beyond the toast jokes, this is a genuinely remarkable food. Avocados are one of the very few fruits that are rich in fat, specifically in monounsaturated fat, primarily a compound called oleic acid. This is the same type of fat that gives olive oil its stellar reputation. And in the context of the Mediterranean diet research, it's one of the most heart-protective dietary fats known to science. Oleic acid has been shown to reduce LDL cholesterol while maintaining or increasing HDL cholesterol, the favorable ratio that protects against cardiovascular disease. It also reduces inflammation by suppressing the expression of genes that drive inflammatory processes. And because fat is highly satiating, the fat in avocado helps you feel fuller longer after eating, which naturally reduces overall calorie intake throughout the day. But fat is only part of the story. Avocados are extraordinary potassium sources. A single avocado contains more potassium than a banana, and potassium is essential for blood pressure regulation, nerve function, and muscle contraction, including the heart muscle. Most people are significantly under-consuming potassium, which contributes directly to elevated blood pressure. Avocados are also rich in fiber, about 10 grams per medium avocado, which supports gut health, blood sugar stability, and cholesterol management. They contain folate, vitamin K, vitamin E, B vitamins, and magnesium. And like eggs, avocados contain lutein and zeaxanthin for eye protection. One of the less appreciated benefits of avocado is that it dramatically enhances the absorption of fat-soluble nutrients from other foods eaten alongside it. Carotenoids, like lycopene in tomatoes and beta-carotene in carrots, require fat for absorption, and adding avocado to a salad containing these vegetables has been shown in studies to multiply the absorption of those carotenoids by several times. So avocado isn't just adding its own nutrition, it's amplifying the nutrition from the rest of your meal. Add half to 1 avocado per day to salads, on toast with eggs, blended into smoothies for creaminess, or simply sliced with a pinch of salt and lemon. And number 11, saving something spectacular for last, is green tea. I want to be honest with you. I think green tea is one of the most underappreciated health foods in the Western world. In Japan, where green tea consumption is among the highest in the world, rates of heart disease, certain cancers, and neurodegenerative disease are among the lowest. That's not a coincidence. Green tea is rich in a family of antioxidants called catechins, the most potent of which is EGCG, epigallocatechin gallate. EGCG is one of the most studied bioactive compounds in nutritional science, with research spanning cancer prevention, brain protection, cardiovascular health, metabolism, blood sugar regulation, and antimicrobial effects. For brain health, green tea is remarkable. It contains not just caffeine, which improves alertness and cognitive performance, but also L-theanine, an amino acid that promotes calm focus by increasing alpha wave activity in the brain. The combination of caffeine and L-theanine produces a state of alert relaxation, energized but calm, focused but not anxious, that most people report feeling distinctly and immediately. This is why many people find the mental experience of green tea qualitatively different and often preferable to coffee. EGCG has also been shown to cross the blood-brain barrier and directly protect neurons from oxidative damage. Long-term green tea consumption has been associated in population studies with significantly lower rates of dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Animal research has shown EGCG can reduce amyloid plaque formation and may support the clearance of existing plaques. For heart health, green tea has been shown to reduce total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol, reduce LDL oxidation, improve arterial function, and reduce blood pressure modestly. Large epidemiological studies from Japan have shown that people who drink 5 or more cups of green tea per day have significantly lower risks of cardiovascular disease and stroke compared to those who drink less. For metabolism and blood sugar, green tea and EGCG have been shown to improve insulin sensitivity, reduce blood glucose levels after meals, and modestly increase metabolic rate, meaning you burn slightly more calories at rest. This combination makes green tea a useful ally for anyone managing their weight or metabolic health. For cancer prevention. And again, I want to be very clear, this is about general prevention research, not treatment. Epidemiological studies consistently show lower rates of certain cancers in populations with high green tea consumption. Laboratory research suggests EGCG can inhibit cancer cell growth and promote apoptosis through multiple mechanisms. This is active research, and the picture continues to develop, but the signal is consistent enough to be worth noting. How much should you drink? 3 to 5 cups per day appears to capture the majority of the benefits based on available research. Steep your green tea in water that is hot but not boiling, around 170 to 185 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 to 3 minutes. Boiling water can damage some of the delicate catechins and makes the tea bitter. If you want to amplify absorption, add a small squeeze of lemon, as the vitamin C in lemon helps stabilize catechins and increases their bioavailability. Now, I want to take a moment before I wrap up, because I know what some of you might be thinking. You might be thinking, this is a lot of foods to add to my life. Where do I even start? And I want to answer that directly, with the same care I'd give a patient sitting across from me. Start with one. Just one. And if I were guiding you, I'd start with Moringa, because of its sheer breadth of impact across so many body systems simultaneously. Add half a teaspoon of Moringa powder to your morning smoothie or tea for the next 2 weeks. Just that. Notice how you feel. Then add the next thing on this list that resonates most with what you're dealing with. Build slowly, consistently, and sustainably. Health doesn't change overnight, but it does change. And it changes with exactly this kind of consistent, daily decision to give your body the building blocks it needs to heal, to protect itself, and to thrive. Every single food on this list has a robust body of scientific research behind it. None of them are silver bullets. None of them will fix everything on their own. But together, as part of a whole food, plant-forward, nutrient-rich diet, they represent some of the most powerful tools available to you for transforming your long-term health. I want to leave you with something I truly believe. Your body is always working for you. Even when it feels like it's failing, it's fighting. And when you give it the right inputs, the right nutrients, the right compounds, the right raw materials, it responds. Sometimes slowly, sometimes dramatically, but it responds. You have more influence over how you feel, how you age, and how long and well you live than most people realize. The foods you put into your body every day are not just fuel. They are information. They are instructions. They are signals telling your cells, your genes, your immune system, and your brain how to function. Choose those instructions wisely. Start with Moringa. Add blueberries. Put garlic in everything. Eat your greens. Drink your green tea. And keep showing up for your body with the same consistency that your body has been showing up for you every single day of your life. If this video was helpful for you, I'd love it if you'd share it with someone who needs it right now. Maybe a friend who's been struggling with energy, a family member dealing with blood sugar issues, a parent or spouse who's been told their cholesterol is too high. This kind of information doesn't help anyone sitting alone in a playlist. It helps people when it reaches them. And please, drop your comment below right now. Tell me which food on this list you're most excited to try or that you're already using. Tell me what health challenge you're working through. Tell me what topics you want me to cover next. This community is built around real people with real health journeys, and your voice matters here. I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself, because you are absolutely worth it.